kickboxing 10 things I wish I'd known beforehand. I want to see this now because I'm doing kickboxing now for I think about a month or two, and I want to see if there's something that we can relate to, or if I maybe can also give some of my insights into the sport of kickboxing as well. Because for those of you who follow me a little bit longer already, I am a former Shaolin Home Guard practitioner, which is basically a sort of a boxing style with just low kicks. So it's kind of kickboxing, but it has a Shaolin touch. And I wanted to see something else. I wanted to develop myself a little bit more and got more into the sports part of it, not just the traditional martial arts. And maybe we can see something interesting here, also for myself. So I'm also interested.
In this video, I'm just going
By the way, the video is from Johnny Boy Kickboxer. It has almost 35,000 views. It's 5 years old, but the channel only has 833 subscribers. So go on there. I put the link down in the description below. Please, let's support the man.
my top 10 things that I wish I'd known before I started kickboxing. And
Okay.
10 things that you may find useful if you're considering taking up kickboxing for the first time. Okay, so number one on my list is that very first class. So I'd actually considered taking up kickboxing for quite some time before I took the plunge and booked that first class. And I guess the reason for taking...
Same for me, actually. Actually, it was the same for me. I thought about picking up kickboxing for quite some time. And I did trial lessons in the school or in the gym that I am now enrolled beforehand. And that's something that I just can recommend for you, that you take up trial classes and you see and you find the gym that really suits you. Also, the people, the coach needs to suit you. If not, then that's not a problem. I mean, I bet there is more than just one like martial arts gym around that your particular style that you want to learn is. So just hop around, see a little bit what fits you best, and then you will have a good time.
This was fear of the unknown. By
Yeah, sure. I mean,
a lot of us don't like to delve too far into the unknown, especially for somebody like myself who can suffer with social anxiety at times. So booking that
yeah, man, who not?
was a huge deal. I wasn't entirely sure what to expect. I kind of conjured up all these images in my head, which turned out to be not the case at all. So
Most of the times they don't.
Everybody was extremely welcoming. I certainly wasn't the only newbie there. The instructors were very welcoming, the students, and everybody was just really friendly. So
that's generally the case for martial arts gyms.
If I'd known this before before my first class, I would definitely have booked ages ago and taken up kickboxing a lot sooner. Yeah. All right, so number two on my list is repetition. So when you first start your kickboxing class, you'll be given lots of things to try and remember, different techniques, different combos, and it can all seem a little overwhelming at times.
For me, for example, it's not the coordination, which limb when in combos. It's just I'm not familiar with the combos itself. So I have years of martial arts experience so far. I've done in my childhood, I would say. Yeah, my childhood, 15, 16, 17 years there somewhere. I have practiced Aikijitsu, which is not directly Aikido. I don't know what exactly it was, honestly speaking. It was the only gym around because I lived in the countryside, and it was the only gym around where the kids would go or the young people would go. And so all my friends were there and I was there as well. So I did this for, I think, 3 years or 2 years, somewhere like that. Then I started other sports, and I did other sports, but I also did then Home Guard Kung Fu for 3.5 years, and which really brought then the start of the martial arts career, so to speak, that I'm in. And I learned like the coordination of, I know what the punch is, how to throw a punch. I'm just not familiar with like the combos specifically to kickboxing, and this is like the new things. I think that's just a part of repetition, and doing it over and over and over, and this will come really fast. I'm not having like the big precautions. They're somewhere else from my side. Tell you later.
Holy shit, there is no way I'm going to remember all this stuff.
Yeah, you will.
Too much information to try and digest and retain.
But you will also forget it.
The thing is, repetition is key here. So you won't be expected to remember it all within your first class, or even your second class, or your third class. These things, sometimes you need to practice techniques and sets and combos hundreds of times in order for that information to sink in, and in order for you to retain that information. So repetition is key here. Practice as often as you can. Just going to one class or two classes a week probably isn't going to cut it.
No, in the beginning,
I
no, no,
found
no.
out when I first started, I was doing two classes a week purely because that was the only time I had available.
So for me, I'm trying to do at least 3 classes, at least. So there's an opportunity. They have 3 beginners classes and 3 intermediate classes, so to speak, on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and then on Friday there's a mixed one, so that everybody does oh my god, does something with everybody. So mixed levels, pretty cool concept. And I'm trying to go to every class on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and also on Friday if I have time. 3 is minimum, but maybe I can make up my way to maybe going like to 2 classes. So first it would be the beginners and then the intermediate class. So then would have 2 classes. That's a little bit over 2 hours, 2.5 hours training per day. That would for me be awesome. And I think I can manage it with my schedule. Just the weights training, then that's something on another plate.
And
We'll see.
And was struggling purely because I wasn't practicing enough. And as soon as I started going to more classes, 3 or 4 or even 5 classes a week, and it also helps if you can do a bit of practicing at home in the form of shadow boxing. So you don't necessarily need bags and pads and all the equipment. So just a little bit of shadow boxing to practice those techniques and sets, and you'll remember them in no time. I look back now at some of those techniques and some of those sets that I was stuck on back then, and I know them like the back of my hand now. So repetition is key.
Yeah, that's true,
So
man.
number 3 on my list are bad days. You win some, you lose some. It's as simple as that. So
Which song is this
have,
from? Shit.
days
You
that
would so lose it.
whether
Shit. Can't remember.
personal training or even kickboxing. When you first start out in kickboxing and you have a bad day, it could be for any reason. Maybe you had a bad day at work, or maybe you're just feeling tired. Perhaps you're just hungry. Quite.
What I have experienced here, that's pretty interesting. Maybe you know this as well, is when I have a bad day and I still manage to get into training, which is 80 to 90% the case over the last 5 years now, I will always feel better afterwards when I went to training and pushed a little bit through. It's just the way to training and maybe the first 15 minutes. Then that's all gone. It's all gone because then it's time for training. You concentrate, you focus, you do your thing that you love. And that's always going to make something with your head. That's going to, that fixes the problems somehow in the short term. In the short term, it fixes your problems. And that's something beautiful that we have to like seek. When shit, man, my boss yelled at me today, and I had a shitty day. I didn't made it the offer for the client, or the client didn't buy the products or whatever job you have, like, and you make it then through this emotional. That's the time. That's the time when it's really important.
Often
And I never, come on, you never regretted it, right? You never regretted it.
From work, rush to kickboxing class without having dinner first, and my stomach will be rumbling, and I'm not particularly feeling on top form. But shit happens. The thing is, try not get too disheartened by it, because even now, if I've been doing kickboxing for just a little over a year, and if I have a bad day, I also train jiu-jitsu as well, but if I have a bad day, you can't help but get a little disheartened. Sometimes I even doubt myself and question, what the hell am I doing? Is this really for me? Because I'm so shit at it. And then I can guarantee you, the very next class or the class after that, you'll have another good day, and you'll wonder what all the fuss was about. So you will have a bad day in kickboxing. Just try not let it get you down too much, and just chalk it down to what it is, a bad day, and you'll be fine in your next class. All right, so number 4 on my list is journals, blogs, and vlogs, or at least
That's interesting because I'm not doing this so far.
note taking. So I wish I'd created some kind of a journal right from day one, scribbling down all my notes. And the main reason for that is because I think it's really good to look at your progress. So it would have been cool to kind of look back at some early notes and early entries into some kind of a kickboxing journal from back then when I first started kickboxing, and then compare them to how I'm doing now. I think by doing that you would get such a sense of achievement, and it's good to monitor your progress. Yes, I occasionally do vlogs such as this on YouTube in form of video, but I kind of wish I'd just kept some kind of a journal or created a blog and stuck to it, and after every class scribbled down some notes, things I was happy with, things that I wasn't happy with.
Yeah, basically just like a diary. For myself, I'm not feeling that.
Your progress. So number 5 on my list is go with the flow. So
Okay, go with the flow.
you've been kickboxing for several weeks now, and you're about to be graded to your first belt. You're about to be graded to white belt, yellow stripe, or whatever.
It's interesting. He also talks about belts in kickboxing, and as we know, kickboxing comes from a mix, or it comes from the 1960s, from Japan, karate, Thai boxing, and so on, Western boxing influences. And also in my school that I am now, they have belts. You have to be enrolled for like 5 to 6 months to be able to apply for your first belt. And I thought always that's just like a traditional martial arts thing. And when I Google it, I cannot find a lot of sources that say or state that kickboxing has belts. But it would make sense because coming from a karate background, which is basically the OG of belts in the martial arts, then it would make totally sense, right? So, I don't know.
Whatever the colour system is in your kickboxing academy. So obviously you're feeling awesome. You've passed the test. You've been graded, and you've got that first belt. So it's only now.
Can you get into karate combat by having a black belt in kickboxing? Can you?
Natural that you would
Don't
want
know.
to replicate that feeling again as soon as possible. The thing is, at times it can feel as though you're just gunning for that next belt, and you want to grade in as quick as possible, and then you get the next belt, and then it's the belt after that, and the belt, and don't get me wrong, it is good to have. It's really good to have goals in sight. That certainly helps.
Yeah, but it's about the
Not
skill,
focus too
not the
much
belt.
on the end result, on the belt. Instead, just chill out and enjoy the journey, and you will absorb far more information, and you'll fine tune your techniques far more than you would by just gunning for that next belt. So instead of constantly looking for that next belt, just go with the flow and enjoy yourself. All right, so number 6 on my list is
Talk to me, bro.
injuries. It sucks. You will get injured. Hobbled out of the academy and ended up taking time off work. And I actually ended up taking about 4 or 5 weeks off kickboxing to give my knee chance.
Hi, my friend. How are you doing?
And aside from that, I spent a small fortune.
Happy to welcome you in the chat.
Had I have just taken a few nights, maybe a week away from kickboxing, right from the start, as soon as I felt that twinge in my knee, I probably wouldn't need to have taken all that time off kickboxing and taken time off work and wasted all that money on physiotherapy. So number 7.
So that's the thing. Physiotherapy is normally treated by the insurance. At least in Switzerland it is. I don't know how it is in like your countries, but wait a sec. Do we see where he's from? If we see where he's from, it should be covered by the insurance. Right? Oh, I don't see it. Normally, if you tell this you had an injury, then the insurance covers this, and also the cost for the physiotherapist and so on and so on.
Now I'm nowhere near advanced advanced enough to have any kind of an ego in kickboxing, but if you do, make sure you leave it at the door. You will get your ass kicked, whether it be by somebody more advanced or even somebody less advanced than yourself or somebody younger. And the key is, rather than thinking, I'll get you next time, just let it go, learn from your mistakes, and congratulate the guy. He beat you, so congratulate him on beating you, and learn from your mistakes. That's more important. Is, where did you go wrong? How can you fix this and make sure it doesn't happen again? Okay, so number 8 on my list is, don't be afraid to train with people of a higher grade than yourself.
I need to interrupt here because this is actually, don't be afraid, do this, because that is where you will learn the most. I would always have learned the most when I sparred my instructor. Always. It was the hardest because, man, he would hit on me and he would not go easy with me. But it's also, he can decide, he can adjust his pressure that he puts on the student when sparring. Another guy on your same level or maybe below cannot do this because the person doesn't have the experience or the exposure over the years and years and years of training that usually an instructor has. So if you have like the chance to spar an instructor, I know I hate it myself when I see the instructor is free and now it's time to search another partner, switch partners, that I really don't want to, but it's a good thing. You really learn a lot of things when you do like sparring with your instructors. Yeah, really. Do this. Don't be afraid. Do this.
Usually in kickboxing academies, they'll try and partner up with somebody your own grade to train with for obvious.
Yeah, I switched to kickboxing. Why? Because I think it didn't meet what I wanted to learn. That's the short answer. Because in my opinion, if you never seek or never see what other martial arts have to offer, that's very limited and can be very dangerous for your own like reflective self. If you know what I mean now by this. But yeah, that's basically like just a rough story. If you want, I'm thinking about doing a video about this because this year is just like a stream and off-grid answer, so to speak, and I haven't made my head around what I want to say or so. But if you would be interested, let me know if you want a video of this, and maybe I can prepare something because I've been thinking about this for quite some time now, making a video. It's kind of a Rokas martial arts journey video, but not like hating all on it because I don't hate what I did, because it's made myself to the person that I am or the fighter that I am.
But there may be occasions
that makes any sense
where there is nobody in that particular class of a similar grade to yourself, so you may have no option other than to train with somebody a slightly higher grade than yourself. When this first happened to me, when I first started kickboxing, I thought I found it a bit intimidating at first. I was thinking, holy crap, this guy's going to kick my ass and he's going to make me look stupid because obviously he's more advanced. That couldn't have been further from the truth. In actual fact, what happened was the guy who was more advanced, who I was training with, he was able to point out some of my flaws in my techniques and not being a dick about it. But he was...
Yeah, 100%. Sorry. That's exactly what happened to myself. 1 week ago, I was sparring with this guy, Bernard, and he's like an old dude. He's like, I think somewhere between the 40s and the 50s. And he has like this dad bod, like a real big belly. And we were doing boxing, classical boxing, no kicks. And he was pointing out to me that I don't know why I'm doing this. I mean, after 4 years now, or 3.5, 4 years of martial arts, you should be fucking able to like not look down. And I never like thought about this, that I always taught myself, look here to this part. And this is like, then because when you have the gloves here and then you look down like this, because you want to also cover the chin, blah, blah, blah. But it has never occurred to me that I look down to see the kicks. And this is really a big fault of mine, because that's not good, man. That's not good. Focus here, and maybe I have to force myself to look in the eyes.
He was kind of helping me. So he'd point out some of the flaws that I was making and say, oh, hey, Johnny, I've noticed you.
Yes, well, everybody knows what they want. I kind of disagree. Maybe I'm understanding you wrongly, but I'm almost 100% sure that a big portion of people who are doing martial arts don't know what they want. And if they would question it more or seek out more things, look out for more things, people would do other martial arts.
You do your roundhouse kick like this, this, and this. Maybe if you do it like this instead, you can see how, and then he'll explain why that would work so much better. So by the end of that class, I actually left the academy thinking, wow, I've actually learned so much today, and it's really helped me fine-tune.
Yeah, that's a great experience, really.
Don't forget, if you're constantly partnering with somebody your own grade, you might be making slight mistakes or flaws in your techniques, and
the other one doesn't see it.
Your partner who's the same grade may also not notice the flaws or techniques, or may not know that they're wrong. So unless the instructor happens to be walking past, doing his rounds, and at that particular time, that precise moment, and spots that flaw or that mistake, which should happen, but it doesn't always happen. Sometimes things get missed. So unless the instructor spots it, you could be just going through all these classes, training
without knowing, basically, without knowing what you're doing wrong.
Of, how you move your body with a certain kick or a certain punch or whatever. So that's where I'm saying somebody with a high grade comes along, and you end up training with them for this particular class, and they're able to spot those flaws and kind of give you a helping hand. So so instead of being...
Question: do you have an idol in martial arts? A martial artist or a fighter? Yes, I actually do have. It's not an idol, but somebody that I aspire. Because, let me show you. Look at this phenomenal athlete. And it's not only the way he looks, he's an MMA fighter. But look at, maybe we can get, yes, we have him on YouTube. I mean, that man is a savage. He's not just, it's not just like he's muscular as fuck. It's not this. It's a combination with another thing.
Fight fans watching all around the world, and welcome to another Fight Nation compilation. Which leaves him open for this devastating left hook, followed by a right hook that puts Sakai out, giving Galani the who will pay for it. The one that sends him back.
Okay, no, that's not a good reference. We have to put him up on Instagram. Let's see on Instagram. Galani. So there we have him. Why I aspire him is like, look what kind of training he does. What he's able to do. Wow, look this. That's crazy. If you have tried this takes some insane amount of skill and strength here on the wobble board, and then also with the back leg here on the ball. That's insane. That's really insane. This one here
God,
as well.
I'm not perfect. Sometimes I forget to pray, and sometimes I lose.
So for me here with Galani, is it that he has this kind of body but is able to do crazy feats of flexibility and physical body control. I mean, that's aspiring. That's aspiring. That's what I want to achieve, or that's like my ideal thing. Yeah, I mean the splits, yes, but with that amount of muscle here on your quads, that's sick, bro. That's really sick.
Yo, bless the still, step out, dress to kill. What up, Doc? What the deal? Clock the squill, the MP
What the
overkill.
fuck?
Certified silver dust, 35 mil. Jumping out planes, Doc's the name. Blame, back to believe the pain. Hater, it's for photo, pisco. Hit the safe for case, should've switched the code. 100 sneaker pound to cut.
Yeah, that's a man that I aspire. That I think, okay, yeah, that's something worth pursuing. Yeah.
Being afraid to train with somebody higher grade, relish in the opportunity to train with somebody who's more advanced. All right, so number 9 on my list is sparring too hard. So it's your first time sparring, and the instructor tells you, right, guys, just spar at 10%, 20% power or whatever. So it's all going fine, and then one of you hits the other slightly harder. This pisses the other guy off, and comes back with, well, I can hit hard also, and then it just escalates from there. And before you know it, heads are flinging back, and the beginner's standing over there looking over, all intimidated, and the instructor is glaring at you. So don't do it. When you're sparring, you're there to train and learn, both of you and your partner. You're not there to kill each other. You're not.
No, you're there to learn together.
From that.
That's the thing.
Sparring is still training. You're not fighting in the ring competitively or anything like that. So treat it like that. Treat it like training. You wouldn't train and practice a technique and give it 100% power. So why would somebody do that in sparring as well? And it is difficult sometimes, because you do start off light, and then, like I said, it escalates, and you end up getting a bit, punching, kicking a bit harder, and then before you know it,
I mean, you have to talk to your partner. If it's okay for them, then yeah, sure, go on.
Remember that. Just if you do find yourself sparring, harder and harder, just kind of dial it back a little bit. But also, if you find your partner is sparring too hard, there's nothing wrong in saying to them, just tell them, hey, how about just dial it back a little bit? We're just training here.
Yeah, I would tell. I told my partners that, hey, could we go a little bit like slower, because I'm not having the techniques, and I want to be able to like throw the combos in sparring. I want to see that I need more processing in the beginning, for sure, and every beginner needs more processing in the beginning, so he needs more time. So that's why maybe a little bit slower sparring. But that's going to build up. That's going to build up. When a new one is then coming in, you are the advanced.
You don't want that reputation, because all that'll happen is nobody will want to spar with you. Okay, so number 10 on my list is the gear. I was actually quite shocked when I first started kickboxing at how expensive the stuff is that you need for kickboxing. So things like, obviously, a pair of boxing gloves, focus pads, Thai pads if you're doing Thai boxing.
When you practice it then for yourself, okay.
Gum shields, hand wraps, and of course a bag to put all this stuff in. It soon mounts up. When I first started kickboxing, my first couple of classes, I just borrowed their boxing gloves. So they had
same what I did with shin guards.
Full of boxing gloves that if you forgot your gloves or you didn't have any, you could go and borrow theirs. It was a little bit like forgetting your PE kit at school and finding a PE kit from the lost property bin. They were stinky, because obviously other people had been wearing them and sweating in them. So after my first class, I decided, I really enjoyed the class. See, this is the thing. There was no point in rushing out and buying boxing gloves before my first class in case I didn't enjoy it. So after my first class, I thought, I'm going to stick at this. I really enjoyed it. So I then went out to buy some boxing gloves. You can get cheaper ones for around about £30-40, but as my granny used to say, buy cheap, buy twice. So a decent pair of boxing gloves will set you back around £80-90 and above. And the same goes for shin guards. You can buy cheaper shin guards, which may not last as long or may not be as comfortable, or you can invest in a good pair. Focus pads and Thai pads, not too big an issue. I bought my own focus pads, even though they provide the focus pads at the academy, purely because, again, I was fed up of driving home after class and my hands were smelling like sweaty onions from using their focus pads. But also, I wanted
Yeah, so that's the worst.
because that meant I could also train at home. And at times when the gym was closed over holidays and things like that, I could still train at home without being restricted to go into the kickboxing academy. Thai pads, I haven't invested in any Thai pads yet, so I'm quite happy just using the academies for the time being. And then, like I said, of course, you'll need a big bag to put everything in, because all of this stuff probably isn't going to fit into a regular sized gym bag. So it soon mounts up, all of this equipment. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah, I would say I pretty much enjoyed it, and I would agree with the things, most of the things that he said. Yeah,
Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope
that was a good one.
take some
That was a good
away from
one.
it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Let's see what he does for kind of content. Not that active as it looks, sadly. What's inside my MMA kickboxing bag? That's something that I could do as well. That would be interesting, because I have, because of my weight training, I have other things in there as well. But there's another video that I prepared for today to watch, and